Hello, and welcome to Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, covering political and social issues one liberty at a time, with entertaining insights of current events and important discussions on topics that affect us all, shining the torch of liberty and brightening the future by bringing libertarianism into our everyday life. And now, your host, the friendly neighborhood libertarian, Jason Lyon, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth on Muddied Waters Media.
Hello everybody, welcome in. It's another beautiful, wonderful Friday night. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Of course, I am Jason Lyon, Mr. America, the Bearded Truth, and tonight I have another wonderful guest with us. We have Mari Peele from Brevard County, Florida. So she's coming on today. We're talking about not being the crazy and crazed and wonky Jason Lyons of the world, where you're trying to be a face of something, but we're talking about the importance of fine-tuning the machines, of working in the background to make things happen. Now, of course, as we're looking to set the world free in our lifetime, that means that we need people in the front and we need people in the back, and all too often people are a little bit afraid and hesitant. So we're going to talk a little bit today and encourage you to find out where you can get plugged in, whether this is in the Libertarian Party, whether this is in some liberty-leaning organization, or even some non-political organizations, to where you could take the next step, you can get engaged, and you can help make a difference in your community. But before we get there, we got to send out some thank yous. So thank you to each and every one of you guys for tuning in, whether you guys are checking us out live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Float, wherever, however you're watching the live stream. Thank you so much for doing that. Or if you're checking us out later on the go from your favorite podcast app, thank you for doing that as well. Wherever you're seeing us, make sure that you are liked and subscribed to the page. Make sure you guys are interacting with those posts, dropping comments if you can, interacting with other people who've made those comments, and make sure if you're on YouTube, you click that bell, get the notifications for every time that we go live. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who have done that, and for each and every one of you who are do that tonight. Thank you to Spike and Matt for giving me a platform to come out here to talk to you guys about my opinions, my views, and my stances on things. And of course, for allowing for me to have incredible guests such as what we have tonight to have these discussions. A lot to talk about tonight. I'm really excited for that. But before we get there, we do have a new screen. But before I talk about that screen, we do have to talk about a big thank you to Kelsey Lyon Designs. If you guys are looking for a graphic design guru, a genius, a mastermind, you guys got to head over to kelseylyondesigns.com or kelseylyon.design. She's going to help you out. She can get you a new logo, new branding, new business cards, publication. She can help you out with that web layout. She can help you whatever you need, whether that's your business, your campaign, or just an event that you're setting up. If you need someone to help you with design, solutions, and strategies, Kelsey Lyon is going to take care of you. She's worked with so many libertarians and so many non-political people across this nation. It's incredible what she's done. And let's get you a part of her CSV or whatever that's called. But head on over to kelseylyondesigns.com, use the code Muddied Waters. She's going to hook you up with a discount, and you're not going to regret what you get. Also, Spike, don't tread on my internet capable devices. I know, bud. But tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about this as well, of course, with a guest. But if you're looking for something to do November 8th, and you're like, I could be anywhere in the world, Jason, where should I be? Well, you should be right there in Melbourne, Florida. November 8th, down there at the zoo for the 2022 Golden Liberty Gala. So go ahead, just sign up, buy your tickets now, lpbrevard.org/gala. Become a sponsor by going to lpbrevard.org/gala-sponsors or tax sponsors if you're a veteran, or into that lingo of sorts. But you're going to be able to hear and see the wonderful Tasha Cohen and her husband. You're going to see Jordan Marlowe, a re-elected or just a re-elected libertarian mayor. You're also going to see me and my shiny face. You're also going to see Shelly the porcupine. And who doesn't love a good porcupine? So make sure you guys are signed up, lpbrevard.org/gala. Get your tickets today. You're not going to want to miss that night. It's going to be incredible. And I just picked up my suit today. It looks phenomenal. I'm telling you. It makes me, a bag of trash, look great. So you're not going to want to miss that night. We'll be there. You guys should be there too. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our amazing guest, Mari Peele. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. You're here tonight too, because I was scared that I don't know. I always get scared.
The hurricane was gonna make this not happen.
Yes, I was actually like genuinely terrified. You guys just went through a hurricane, and from my understanding, Brevard wasn't hit necessarily as hard as a lot of areas, but you guys still got some fun stuff though, right?
Just a lot of water. I mean, nothing like, Fort Myers, that area, Fort Myers Beach, but it did cut across the state and go across us as it left, and left plenty of water. But I guess native Floridian, so I'm like, okay, it was another hurricane. And it's not that way for the people that were, of course, over there right where it hit. Thankfully, I had family that were in that area that are okay. So
good. And I hate to plug this right in the beginning of our conversation, but for the audience, if you guys want to tune in this Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, we will have another Muddied Murica with myself and Matt Wright. We're going to be talking about some of the ways that law enforcement and the government have really been messing up in the ways of helping some of the people in Lee County and DeSoto County, Florida. Both of these areas got kind of wrecked. So you guys want to tune in Sunday night, 9 p.m. I'll plug that at the end of the show. Don't you worry. But I am so glad that you guys were okay. You guys were deeply in our thoughts and prayers leading up to that night. And I'm so glad that everything worked out well. I was like, we're coming up on the gala. We're coming up, like, you guys are creating a stronghold there of, like, Republicans and Democrats are staring at LP Brevard. Like, you guys are putting liberty on the map.
Oh, you don't even know, just the developments in the last week, even today. We did a write-up. Well, my husband's the treasurer of Libertarian Party of Brevard County, and he is one of those behind the scenes guys, very into looking at, okay, we got charter amendments, we got municipality charter amendments, and the county. We need to look at them. We need to see what are they really doing and make a stance. So he did a big write-up on that. We voted on what we would say as a party. And, there's some people in other local parties and local clubs that talk with us that were kind of like, you could come to us, and like, no, we really want to try and make it work there. Apparently, one of those took our stuff to their meeting and said, look, the libertarians are doing this, and we're not even taking a stance. And they're going to county meetings, and they're doing write-ups. They're going to city meetings and doing write-ups. They're telling the people what's happening and why it's a problem, if it's a problem. Why aren't we doing this? So our information, our write-ups is ending up in Republican meetings. Now, in Brevard, it's crazy because you have BREC, which is their executive committee, and then you have like 10 clubs. And so the power structure works a little bit differently there. But this is one of the clubs where they're like, hey, we need to be doing this. Maybe we should be reading their write-ups and then deciding if there's things that we need to speak on. And it's like, whoa, it's not just them saying, hey, they're doing things and we're not. It's maybe we need to actually see why they said what they said. And that's moving the window. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then just this evening, Nathan, our chair, did a live interview with Bill Posey, which is he's already a seated congressman, and he's running for re-election. A couple days ago, he did a interview live with his opponent, Joanne Terry, and that was not something we expected to happen. It was one of those big asks where you're like, they're probably going to say no, but we ask anyway. And then, we get the call. Yeah, we want to do it. Okay, well, let's make it happen.
Yeah. So you guys, this is like perfect, because we're putting the by complete accident, we are putting the cart way before the horse in terms of like what we're talking about here, because there's a lot of stuff that you guys have been doing as a team there in Brevard County. For anyone outside of Florida, this is the eastern coast of Florida. It spans, it's just south of Orlando, and I don't remember what.
Well, no, we're actually, if you go east of Orlando, directional is not my thing, but we're on the East Coast, and it's where NASA is.
There we go.
Where
NASA.
the rocket launches are. I'm hearing SpaceX, Starlink's going up, every week, sometimes a couple times a week. So to the east of Orlando on the coast, just, south of Daytona, and it's a long county.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Daytona. So yeah, south of Daytona all the way down to Melbourne, where everyone will be November 8th. But
yes,
you guys have been doing so much in the background that has led to where the Republican Party and Democrat candidates and party members are like, what is the Libertarian Party thinking? You guys have been able to get a Democrat representative, not like an elected representative, but somebody representing within the party, to use some of your guys' slogans. And it's because of the work that you guys have been doing in the background. It's because of the stepping up and having to plug Nathan Slusher's show that he had on here. You guys were able to come out and stand out and be different, and you guys put your principles first. You guys didn't have to have like toxic, terrible messaging. You guys weren't like just trying to be edgy, just and cringe. You guys were like, we're going to show people that we care about our community, that we care about the same things that they care about, and that we're going to bring solutions about to this. And so this is a fantastic segue into kind of the discussion for tonight of what does that look like? What does that mean? And so you guys are a small team, but you guys are also stretched incredibly thin because of how much you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And so this is an opportunity for anyone in Brevard to hear this and to hear this call and go, can I volunteer for a couple hours a week, a couple hours a month even? How much that can unburden you guys to where you guys can even accelerate faster and cause a snowball effect. So I want to talk about that. What does it mean to work in this movement that you guys are creating? I'm not even like, you guys aren't adopting somebody else. You guys are creating this in Brevard. What is this entailed?
So a lot of it, you touched on solutions, and what we're doing is based off of offering solutions and looking for opportunities. So there are so many little things that happen behind the scenes that might take an hour a week, 2 hours a week. Unfortunately, we are a small team and we're all trying to cover all of those things. They add up a lot, but it's not all about, being in front of people and waving signs. There is a place for that, but you've got to have the stuff behind the scenes. You've got to have the people taking notes. You've got to have the people who are trying to make sure that your social media is there so people know you exist. You've got, your treasurers who are willing to say, well, if we mess up, I might go to jail. So let's do it right. Yep. Those are big things. But I look at it as the opportunity of, or not the opportunity, but a way of thinking that you might see a torch laying on the ground. And my example of that is if there's something you see that's missing, you go, hey, this thing was happening in the county commission. They're going to vote on this thing and nobody said anything. And it is completely annihilating people's rights. Why didn't anybody say anything? Okay, well, there is an opportunity there. There's a torch that's sitting on the ground. Pick it up and say, you know what? I'm going to dedicate, an hour a week, or if it's 2 weeks, however, depending on how often the meetings are, and just go, hey, what's the agenda? And then write it up and then go to the party and be like, hey, did you know that this is happening? I think we should take a stance on it. We don't have time to watch all the places. We have 16 municipalities in Brevard County, plus trying to keep track of the county government. So if someone is willing to just take that little bit of time and be like, hey, I looked through the agenda, there's nothing big this time, or there's something really terrible, we need to look into this. That allows, the party to keep moving and then decide where they're directing their time. Okay, this is an issue. We're gonna pick this up. Yeah. If you notice that, there's something missing, like, hey, we don't even know how to find these agendas. Like, we have something on our website that I put together called GovTrack, where I've got, for the county and the municipalities, I've got a link to their calendar, to where they post their agendas and their code of ordinances. And then, so if anybody is like, hey, I've been listening, I've been seeing that you guys are taking notes, I want to do this in my municipality, they can go, I live in Indy Atlantic, okay, the next meeting is here, here's how I see their agenda. If you have the opportunity, you have the time to say, hey, I can't go to all your meetings, I can't go out and, you know, wave signs, I don't have time to go to all this, but you know what, I can put together a calendar for you, so that someone else can say, hey, when's the next meeting? And they go, oh, it's there, I can handle that.
Yeah.
If you are just a person who loves listening, or maybe even arguing with your local government, going up to speak, you can be, well, when is that meeting? I'd like to go and just take notes. Part of what has gotten the attention of the people in Brevard County is members of our party, and especially Nathan. Nathan was one that really pushed this. Brian was going early on, and so was Rick. Go to the meetings and just write down what happened. I know they take minutes, but that for us doesn't come out till months later. So Nathan will do a write-up and say A, B, and C happened. This is how they voted. He doesn't really go into in those like, this is the Liberty stance on it, as much as this is what happened. And then he publishes them the same night. And people are reading it and they're going, thank you so much. I didn't know what was happening, and you're keeping me informed. And that keeps them coming back to us.
Yeah, it's a really important thing that you just noted on there. And it's just like, you don't have to scream liberty every time. A lot of people think that the best libertarian advocates and activists are ones that just have libertarian shirts. They've got the libertarian hat. They've got the Dan Berman taxation is theft hat. They've got, you know, the memorabilia, and they just walk around town and they're just like, they're going to own the cucks and they're going to, you know, wreck the libtards. And it's just like, no, that's not it. But what Nathan was doing there was he was first showing up. He had purple hair and a purple suit, so he stood out. So that was interesting.
I think we like purple a little bit in Brevard. I don't know why, it just kind of worked out that way.
But yeah, no, it's beautiful. And but like, he showed up and he was just like, all right, so here's somewhere where the government was lacking, because it would take months for people to hear this. And he's like, I can type this up and I can have a good time. I can just post this out there. I don't have to add my opinion. I'm just being objective, giving a little bit of journalism, which is something I feel like a lot of the masses really need. We don't have enough transparency and everything else. So he's just taking on that role. Yes, he has steps in the future that he's planning to take, but it was just like, he did that. Now he has people outside of the party, outside of the movement, that are like, what is Nathan Slusher saying about these meetings? He now has a foot and a half through the door to so many of these people's lives, building that respect, building that reputation. And it didn't, sure, in that way, he's somewhat being a frontline person, because he's like, hey, you know, here, let me post this on my page, let me make this thing, and people followed him. But there's other people and that I can think of. When Nathan does that for a while, eventually it's going to be to a point where he's like, I can't keep doing this. I have so many other things on my plate, that if somebody was like, hey, I go to those meetings, you know, I was really interested in like hearing all this stuff, I want to learn from Nathan, how did you do this? And that you have the mentorship program there. They're not a front person, but they're there and they're helping make him be able to achieve more. And I think that that's really important when it comes to the liberty movement, because if we looked at the liberty movement as a job or as a business, and I think that this is one of the things that we've been failing at, is if we treat it like a business, there are literally 1,000 different jobs that we have openings for that are never going to be filled every day. So every day you have to apply for those jobs and you have to give in, you show your work that this is what I can do. So there's, with 1,000 jobs, find something you're passionate about, find something that you can do. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have an idea of how to do it, but you're like, that's something I want to get into, ask around. Somebody else may know that and be like, yeah, come with me. I'll take you to a couple council meetings. I'll show you how I take the notes. I'll show you how I take the minutes. Now you're providing an asset to other people. It's incredible.
That big secret is, we don't know what we're doing. Nobody does. the other parties don't know what they're doing either. You know, they have people that are high up that may be, you know, sending them resources sometimes, but the local people, they don't know what they're doing. So we're learning and we're taking notes, and every opportunity we're going, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Can we pass that on to the next group? And if we have people that step up and say, hey, I'll attend this meeting and I'll write notes, but I don't want to do a full write-up, that's fine. If they want to give us bullet points, we'll work it into something, you know, but we need the bodies, because 16 municipalities plus the county, we can't do it right now. We're regularly attending county and Titusville, and even just those two have really gotten attention. We've got someone who's running for Melbourne, and now he's on an advisory committee there. So we've got we're going to be getting more information coming in on what's going on in Melbourne. But there are so many little things. Those are those torches that you can pick up and say, hey, this is a missed opportunity. And I don't have to do the whole thing. I'm not asking you to be an officer. I'm not asking you to be in charge of it. We don't need another committee chair. We just need someone to say, hey, you know what? I took a little bit off of your plate. I gathered this information. Maybe this will be helpful. And it is so helpful because there's so many times where it's like, well, why didn't you guys see this? Well, it's because we can't be in 20 places at once. But if you're willing to just, you know, watch and see what's coming up, or even, you know, make a list of, hey, we noticed there's these petition type amendments that are coming up. We had one of them that we brought in the group that's doing right to clean water. And we brought them in and said, hey, you know, talk to us about this charter amendment. And, you know, we can't guarantee that we're going to endorse this, but then we're going to ask you hard questions, but come talk to us. And that was from people just paying attention to this. Turned out we did end up endorsing it. And now, because they have a local group and they have a state level, they're trying to do this. We've heard reports multiple times of like, they go on radio shows and they're like, by the way, the libertarians endorsed this. And nobody asked them. The radio host is like, okay, sure. Yeah. But, you know, they're just, we took the time to listen, and it's an environmental thing. The Democrats didn't endorse them. They didn't even talk about thinking about endorsing them. And they're like, well, the libertarians listened to us. They asked questions. They're helping promote us. But to track those things, you need the behind the scenes people who will just put in an hour here or there, doing research, watching the agendas we talked about. But also, even if you're like, man, their graphics are, you know, they're trying, but they're not great. Help us.
Put up better. Yeah.
That takes time. You know, again, you don't have to be like, now I'm going to be in charge of their IT or all their website. No, I mean, if you want to help, great. But if it's a little thing like, hey, I noticed you're posting about this, I made you some freshened graphics, you know, and we'd be like, oh, okay, that's great. Thank you. Because we are trying to do everything.
Yes.
We're trying to do it all. And even if it's a little thing, you go, well, why didn't they just do this? It's just a little thing. Well, it's one of like 50 little things for people that are, you know, also working, going to school, having families, all of that stuff. But those are opportunities, and those are ways that people can be meaningfully involved and engaged and feel like they're getting something out of it, because when they put a little bit in, we can take that and multiply it for growth.
Exactly. And I think like I have two things that came to mind. First was like this podcast. This podcast, right? Running this podcast, running the media page, making content, making memes, making all that stuff. This is taxing for anybody as a part-time hobby or a part-time job, right? And so it's like, if somebody was like, hey, you know, I see you guys aren't posting enough memes, or you guys aren't posting enough content to stay in the algorithm, and they're like, I would love to help. That's incredible. Like, that means the world to us that we've been shouldering this, and we've been carrying this huge load for so long, this huge burden. And when people go, hey, we can help you out with this. Hey, Jason, hey, Matt, hey, Spike, you guys may have missed this in the news. Here's this topic that I think I would love to see you guys deep dive. When people do things like that, it lightens the load for us for that little bit. We can take a nice deep breath air. We can focus on some more stuff and make that better. And the second example I want to give was Spike Cohen himself. Spike Cohen, of course, is an incredible person. He's an incredible speaker. He's somebody who is invigorated and made so many people passionate about liberty and about doing better for our communities. Spike Cohen could not have done this by himself. Like, as great as a guy as he is, he could not have done this without the help of so many people from around the country. So when we look at these people, we're like, they're fantastic. They didn't do it alone. They did it from people picking up those torches, like you were saying. They were picking up the torches and they're saying, what can I do to help you be more successful? I see this as the way out, you know?
Yeah. It's taking initiative too. It's not feeling like you have to wait. You know, if somebody says, hey, I put together a list of all these things that are coming up that I think are going to be issues we need to watch, I'm not going to be like, you know, we didn't ask you to do that. You know, I'm going to be like, okay, let's take a look at it and see. You know, I'm going to be like, another resource just dropped in my lap. You know, yes, there's this issue of, you know, they talk about libertarians and herding cats and everybody's trying to do their own thing and going different directions. Yes, there's that. I'm not saying to try and hijack the party in a different direction or anything like that, but I'm saying there are things that you can bring forward that are as resources that they didn't have, that they didn't ask for, because they might not even know they needed. And there are so many things that you know, we come across and we'll go, man, this thing is happening, and now we only have 2 weeks to figure out how we're going to respond to this. Next year, we need to know that this is coming so we can respond earlier. We don't know all the things. So if you see the torch, pick it up and be like, I can do this, especially if it's something you're passionate about. If you're like, man, I love deep diving into the legalities of charter amendments, have at it. Have at it. I know someone else that you can argue with about it. You know, if that's your thing too, you know, I mean, my husband goes and dives into them and is like, well, but this consequence and this consequence. And even as in depth as he goes, when he brings it before the group and we talk about it, we still find other angles. And he's like, okay, I didn't think about that one. I got to go got to figure that out. But don't wait. If you're passionate about it and you go, this is something I can handle, because they're already doing it. If you noticed this thing was missing, if you noticed that this amendment was coming up and we didn't talk about it, you're already watching those things. Just take notes.
Yeah.
Because you're already there. You don't have to go out of your way. And it's hard because I feel like there are so many different things I could list that are those behind the scenes things, but they're different for everybody what they're gonna come up with. And sometimes it's even just, are you really good at spreadsheets? Because like in Florida, you can get the voter disc for free, and then go and look, okay, well, how many libertarians are there? Has it increased or decreased? You know, what are the other parties doing? In Brevard, we're watching that and we see that the NPAs and the independents are growing like crazy, right? This is a change now that if you add up, not even looking at the minor parties, if you add up the independent party, which people think is NPA, which isn't, it's a legal trick thing. And the NPAs, they have more voters in Brevard than the Democrats.
Yeah.
People are leaving the major parties and they're looking for a place to go. We noticed, you know, that there was a unity
national.
party.
That's also national. Like nationally, Republican and Democrats are losing members. The Libertarian Party last year was the only party to grow. We have an opportunity to be a landing pad for millions of people.
Yeah. But if people help, you know, we need help keeping track of those things. You know, that's great to know. But, you know, I'm doing I'm the vice chair, I'm the chair of the gala committee. Yay, come to the gala. And, you know, I'm doing the website. I'm working on a merch store. You know, I'm going to some of the meetings. You know, sometimes I'll fill in and do write-ups for Nathan. I'm trying to do a
Weathering a
voter
hurricane.
database thing. Yeah, a hurricane, like, you know, I'm doing the spreadsheets, I'm tracking the stuff, I'm trying to do graphics, all of these things. And, you know, I'm here for a reason, you know, I'm not complaining. But it's awesome when someone steps up and says, hey, I'll do this little thing. And you're like, oh, that's just one more thing. But there are people that are passionate about those behind the scene things. And we hear a lot about the social media and someone saying this and someone saying that and how they're representing us. And that's part of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to have the other part in order. You've got to have the people who keep you legal. You know, you've got to have the people who keep your records, because when you learn stuff next time, you know, you have a cycle through of your executive committee, it'll be gone. This particular county affiliate, 2 years ago, they were pretty much collapsed, you know, and they worked. It's not saying anything bad about them, because they for a very long time put in a lot of effort here, and they ran candidates and they reached out to the community, but people get burnt out.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, the records weren't there, so then we had to try and can we get the bank account straightened out? You know, do we have membership records? You know, all these things. And so we're building back up. And in 2 years, we've made tremendous strides. But you've got to have that behind the scenes to carry over, so you're not learning the same lessons over and over again.
Yes, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned working on libertarian candidates, is that there's no turnover between candidacies. Mm-hmm. You can see a candidate run for one office and then 2 years later run somebody else, and they're like, there was no exchanging of information between them. There was no exchanging of personnel. And it's just like, that's one of the things that we can work on. And so like, that's something that, like, when I am working with campaigns, I'm like, hey, I want to learn from how this person is doing this role. I want to learn how this person is doing this role. So what skills can I teach them? What can I help them with? And so it's as we're looking to develop and mature our nation, our communities, into thinking things of, hey, don't hurt people and don't steal their stuff. How can we grow and develop and be better to be better equipped? I'm knocking out my printer over here. How can we be better equipped to help facilitate that landing for other people? And that's a huge thing, is like, you've got 150 pounds on your back. Nathan has 150 pounds on his back. And I'm going to butcher everybody else's name, but you know, all of your members in your party have 150 pounds on their back. No one is saying if you want to get involved in Brevard County that you have to come and take another 150 pounds and put it on your back. Take 2 pounds off of your back. Take 2 pounds off of Nathan's back. And that's all that you have to do. Like, well, you don't even have to do that, but taking those 4 pounds collectively off of both of your backs, you guys are now able to focus on that 100 or that 98 pounds, 148 pounds, keeping my analogy right. But you guys are able to do that at a higher efficiency, and you can also teach them about the other things so that they can be equipped. It's not as stressful for you. It's not as stressful for them. There's less burnout, morale. Carrying a heavier load with more people is so much easier than carrying all the load on one person. And you guys can do it for so much longer. This is, you know, if people are passionate about making a difference in your community, making a difference at the state level, making a difference at federal level, these are things that we have to be able to embody as a movement, is to figure out how we can grow and develop and learn from each other. And that's why, like, I am so incredibly blessed to have been able to be in connection with you and with Nathan, and to learn from you guys and what you guys are doing. I swear, like, everyone is going to know about LP Brevard in next year. You guys are going to be a household name across the libertarian front. 10 years from now, you guys are going to be a household name for everybody.
Well, I hope we get to a point where we can pass on some of these lessons. I feel like we're still in that learning stage. But one thing I thought about earlier, and I think it ties in, it's a little bit off topic, is doing the big ask. And you know, we've talked about how we're trying to get other people to help spread the workload, but then there's also a mentality of, once you have the help, What are you using that for? How are you moving forward? And we've pushed and done some things that we didn't think that we'd be able to do, that didn't, we're like, this isn't going to go anywhere, but they were big asks and they did. And every time we do that, we learn and we get more people's attention. That's more opportunity for people to come help us. This gala concept was Nathan's last year, and that was the first time we did it, and we put it together in 3 months and made it happen. And then this year we're like, okay, this time we're going to have a whole year to do it, and we're going to look for sponsors. And so it's like, okay, well, we're going to make a couple little sponsor levels, and maybe people can have vendor tables. And we had one vendor table last year. Let's just put it out. And Nathan is like, well, you need to put some big asks on there. You need to put a gold level on there. And we're like, oh, okay, all right. So we had our top level, our gold level was $2,500, and that was, you get a table, you get 15 tickets, you get an opportunity to speak for just a few minutes. You're on all of our advertising. You notice on the graphic that you showed, there are two gold sponsors on there. There is a Libertarian Party of Florida, who are very thankful that they helped invest in us for this opportunity, and of course our growth helps their growth. And we have Luminate, and Luminate, that came out of taking the money from the gold sponsorship from the Libertarian Party of Florida and sending mailers out to our libertarian voters here. And it was mainly about the affiliate, but we had something in the corner. We're having a gala and you can be a sponsor. Well, this libertarian who had never interacted with us before, he saw that and he looked it up and decided, hey, I want to be a sponsor too. And Luminate is, he's working on an alternative to Facebook, and it's based with cryptocurrency for the back of it for authentication. And he said, hey, I want to do this. He's like, I don't even know that I need a table or anything like that. And I'm like, well, we have this other level, but if you're the gold level, then you're going to be in all our advertisements. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And so that's a big ask we never thought that we could do.
Yeah.
And we never thought we'd get a response. And now we have 2 gold sponsors, plus we have multiple bronze level sponsors. We have people who have vendor tables. There's been a lot of support for it, but if we didn't ask, it was never going to happen. It didn't cost anything to list that out as an option. And now you're on a billboard. You yourself are on a billboard on US 1 in Brevard County, which thankfully did not get blown away by the hurricane.
I've been saved.
Days after the billboard was started displaying. It's a digital billboard. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if people respond. But now people driving around Brevard County are going to see the libertarians are having an event, and they have all these different slides highlighting these different speakers. They have a porcupine.
Yeah.
There's a mayor on there. They're going to, why did they invite a mayor from Newberry? And they're, oh, he's the libertarian mayor. Okay. Who's this Jason Lyon guy? Spike Cohen? And they're going to be like, well, I don't see billboards from the other parties, but if we didn't ask, Nathan sent out that invite. We already knew Joanne Terry, who is running for Congress. He's had multiple conversations with her before. And he said, I'll do an interview with her and I'll send an invite to Congressman Bill Posey. And he's probably not going to respond. And he watched and watched for it. And then he got a call and he said, hey, we've been trying to contact you. We left messages for you. The congressman wants to do your interview and he doesn't want to wait till next week. He wants to do it tomorrow, which ended up being today. It didn't cost us anything to put out the asks, and you don't know how well people are willing to respond unless you try. So, okay, so I'm going to say this next bit, not to brag about the party, although I'm proud of us. It's so that people have context. is that I said that when we took over 2 years ago, we had to fight to get the bank account, and that's not because of the fault of people that before were, doing anything nefarious. It's just because you have so many changeovers that the banks go, I don't know, it's a lot of paperwork. And now last year, we set a record. No, let me go back. We set a goal to raise $10,000 last year, which was like unheard of for a county party. We raised 7, okay, which is unheard of for a county party.
Phenomenal.
And we were just over halfway through this year when we had raised 10,000 this year with a goal of 25,000. And we're also having to look at the fact that doesn't mean you sit on that money.
Yeah.
People aren't donating for you to just put money in the bank and sit on it. There's no prizes for that. So sending out mailers, we've got the billboard. I don't know if that's going to bring in tickets. I don't know if people are just going to go, okay, and then keep driving. But we're going to try.
That's the
important. And we're going
thing.
to do the big asks, and that's big spins too. And a county affiliate can do it. Don't think that as a county affiliate, you cannot affect government. When we walk into the Brevard County Commission, they know who we are. When we go up to the microphone, they know who we are. And sometimes they're like, oh no, but they know. And they pay attention. And we've had multiple times where they've had to actually answer and go, okay, that's a problem, or we need to look into it. We've been ignored all kinds of times, but they know that we're going to go up there, and that not only are they going to pay attention, the citizens pay attention, because they go, they're asking these important questions and we're not hearing answers. Why aren't we hearing answers?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I know I went on a rant there.
You're good. But... You're good. No, that was so much good stuff in there, and it was just like, do the asks. And this is, the asks of when you're engaged, do the asks of the public, do the asks of Congress, do the asks of your representatives, of your senators, ask the government in general. Do those asks, because you never know when you're going to get an answer, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, we all feel irrelevant, we all feel unheard and everything else. But when you have those communications, when you build those relationships with people outside of our party, they will get heard. They will resonate. You will change. You will change up the world. If you're on the outsider and you're looking to get engaged in your county, your state, your whatever organization or whatever group, ask, hey, what can I do to help you? What can I learn? I want to give you guys, say, 2 hours to test out some stuff. Can I do this for a week and see if I like this? That's 2 hours that you just saved them. Even if they have to walk you through it for 2 hours, that's 2 hours that they can kind of just help walk you through it and then let you see if you can fly on your own. There's so much that we can be doing.
Imagine this. So even if it's just, say, 10 people, and you've got someone doing a write-up in this municipality and someone doing a write-up in that one, and this person did these 2 or something, and you're spread out. For us, it's like, oh, we can't, there's so many more that we could do. To the outside, it looks like the libertarians are everywhere. They're like, wait a minute, they're in Titusville and they're in Melbourne, and they just talked about something that's happening in Melbourne Village, and now there's a special election and I didn't even know, and they're here and they're there, and it may be just a few of us putting in, and people putting in a couple hours here or there, but that little bit of time to people from the outside is something big, because it makes us look like we're a lot larger than we are.
Yes.
And all of that is so valuable, because the other parties do notice. And then you have the people that are in their party on the fence who are then calling them out and saying, hey, how come we aren't paying attention to this? And they're starting to realize, oh, it's coming down from the top of the establishment saying, well, we don't take a stance on those things because it's our own people putting up there. So we just let it happen. And people are waking up, and they're coming to us and they're going, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to change them. We're like, that's okay. That's okay. But you can keep talking to me. And when you're ready to cut your strings, you let me know. We talk about that so much. Are you
Yes.
ready to cut your strings yet? Because they're like, well, I can't do this because I have to get permission for that. And we're like, well, you know what? Let me tell you, if we get a libertarian that's in the commission, Nathan, if he's up there, if he's out of line and he's proposing something that's against principles, the first people in line to say, hey, you need to get your act together are going to be the libertarians. We're not going to stay quiet because it's our own party.
Yes.
And the larger we seem for having those small little bits of volunteer work everywhere, where we can show people in Brevard that we're paying attention and we care about what happens, that will get more and more attention of people going, maybe there is a path, if I walk away from the establishment. Because that's the thing we hear a lot. It's like, well, you guys, there's no path with you. And then we show them that in the path that you're in, you have strings. And are you really getting what you want anyway? Are you really getting what you want anyway?
Ooh.
So if you have an opportunity to walk away and build something where you don't have those strings, isn't that worth it? And it's working. It's working. Now, am I saying we're taking over the county tomorrow? No, I wish. But the growth in just 2 years and the attention, that we've gotten from it, from libertarians, from NPAs, from elected officials, some elected officials really not happy when we get the patriot groups riled up about their stuff, because we've had some other groups that we spoke against panhandling and we said, hey, this is happening and these are the unintended consequences of this and all the other things that this isn't really about panhandling. And then the local patriot group was like, you're right, this isn't right. Why come I didn't know about this? They get angry at the sheriff get angry at us because apparently he wanted that thing. But people notice that, hey, you called it out and nobody else was going to call it out.
Yes,
and
that's it. That's it.
Help us put that image of being everywhere. Just give a little bit of time to help hold up that image of us being everywhere, because the big parties are riding on people voting for team colors.
Yeah, I can't tell
and
you
talking points.
I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with some random person at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, out in town, at a community event, where they're like, I'm a small government conservative. And I'm like, I am a small government libertarian. And they're like, what does that mean? And we have the conversation. We find out that there's a lot of common ground. And then I point out, hey, here's what your conservative representatives are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we find those common grounds, if we're able to lay this out in a way that we're not causing people to become defensive, but actually hear what we're saying, we give them that ground that they say, I'm at least interested in hearing what else the libertarians or the Libertarian Party or the Libertarian organization or the movement or what have you, I want to know what they're saying. And that's what you guys have been embodying. You guys have been putting that forth. You guys have been doing incredible work with that. I can't thank you guys enough for that, but I can't tell you how many times I've ran into that circumstance. I actually was just on a call yesterday about a situation down there in Florida. And the couple I had on the phone, they were both like, look, I'm conservative through and through. I'm a Republican through and through, but the government is just messing us over. And they were like, it's DeSantis, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why, like, I want to say you guys are trying to put this issue front and center, and you have to go and navigate the red tape and the bureaucracy. I would rather just give you the power and the authority to be able to do things for your community. They're like, that's what we need. I'm like, we can have a conversation another day about libertarianism, but for the day, just understand that we're not the bad guys here.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes a little bit. You'd be amazed how grateful the community is. Just the local voters, when you say, hey, this is what's happening in the community, and I think you should know.
Yes.
And it gets their attention, and it starts them critically thinking about what the people they elected are doing. And then they start to get angry. They might be, that may or may not be helpful when they process through why they're angry and go, well, you know what can I do now? What can I do now to make it better? I mean, we had on video that after that panhandling thing, the Space Coast TPO, she said, oh, well, this is director of it. She said, it's about the safety. Most important, it's about the safety. But really, it's about that federal funding that it brings into Brevard County.
Yes.
It's that blatant. And if nobody is there to hear it and record it, it just goes away.
Yep.
But then if you can turn around and let the people know this is what they're doing, and then they go, whoa, I need to pay attention because I'm just ignoring them. So give us that couple hours. Just help us out and let us give that image to the people that we're everywhere. And in some ways we are, because we're watching everything.
Yes.
And we're taking notes, and we will call it out.
And we're doing our damnedest, but it's important that all you in the audience, you guys do as much as you can as well to help us achieve more. But I want to, while we're talking about taking hours and give us a couple hours, I do want to take a really, really hard pivot, if you will.
Okay.
The gala. So it's not just the gala that we're doing on November 8th. There's also a little family fun day potentially happening at the zoo that day. So there's a lot of things going on. Can you give me like a quick 60-second pitch? Why should people come to the gala? To lpbrevard.org/gala. Why should they go there and sign up?
They should come because it's an opportunity to meet other people who are thinking critically about what happens in our lives, about how we can take control of our own lives. We're getting together, we're having a good time, we're celebrating the election. We're hearing from people like Spike, from Jason, from Jordan Marlowe, people that we can ask Jordan Marlowe, what's it like to be an elected libertarian? So we know when we take that next step and we're in office, what to do. And then you've got food, you've got drinks, you've got an auction, and that's just the stuff happening that night. If you go in the morning, you could be, help Spike be at the polls for one of our candidates. And I'm going to go to the zoo with Tasha because why would I want to miss that opportunity? But
I'm jealous. I want to go to the zoo with her.
If you're curious about liberty, if you're curious about what solutions we could offer and why we're doing what we're doing, come out to the gala and have a good time.
Melbourne, Florida, November 8th, Tuesday. Yeah. Set your calendars. Let your boss know. I'm notifying you I'm not going to be at work that day. There's no request about this. I am demanding this time off. I'm going to go see Tasha at the zoo and have an amazing time with her, and then hang out with all these libertarian rock stars for the evening.
And if you are not coming from out of town, if you're in Brevard County, go to lpbrevard.org and look and see before you vote. We analyzed what's going on so that you can make an informed decision when you go on those amendments, because it's not just the people that you're voting for. It's actually changing the structure of your local government. And we're paying attention, and we're going to let you know what's going on.
Incredible. I love this conversation, Marie. I want to thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I want to give you the last little bit. If you want to plug anywhere and everywhere that they can find LP Brevard and yourself, so that they can get plugged in if they're in the area, or if they just want to watch you and put you on their political radar, if you will.
Okay. So on Facebook, we're LP Brevard. lpbrevard.org/gala.
Don't
change that to gala-sponsors if you want to be a sponsor. So you can be, if you want to be a gold sponsor, then you're going to be on a billboard. You have that opportunity. But there are levels. There are silver. There's bronze. You can go on Twitter at Launch Liberty. Our big thing is launching liberty. That's what we're doing on the Space Coast. So if you're searching #Launch Liberty, if you're searching for Brevard Gala, I think we're the second that comes up, even if you're not including libertarian. So check us out. And then if you have the opportunity to give us just a little bit of your time, we'd greatly appreciate it because we are going to make things happen here. And we've already got the momentum. So come join us.
Marie, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in just less 32 days from now. So it's coming up quick.
Yes.
Take a breath now because we're not going to be able to catch you soon. But I appreciate it. I will talk to you here in a little bit. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, I am so ready to take the next step. I'm always looking to find ways to help involve myself with the community. I'm not putting liberty first necessarily. I'm being involved and putting my heart first, and that allows for the conversations around liberty to grow. That may be a practice that I'm doing. It may not be the practice that you're doing, but as long as we're working in the pursuance of making liberty happen, it is what it is, and I am grateful for what you're doing. I want to thank you guys all for being a part of this episode today. Once again, just wrapping up this week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, hop on. Me and Matt Wright talking a little bit about Florida because Florida doesn't have enough news these days. And so we've got to do some uncovering for what some of the law enforcement are doing down there. So if you guys want to know what the government's been doing down in Florida, you can always follow LP Brevard, or you can also follow us here Sunday night, Muddied America, coming back at you. If you guys find any stories out there that you want to see Matt, Wright, and myself cover, feel free to send that to us. You can send it to us on the Facebook page. You guys can send that to muddiedwatersofreedom@gmail.com, or you can find me at mrbeardedtruth@gmail.com. Send us whatever you guys are finding, whatever you guys want to see us cover, because if I don't ask you guys for help, maybe you guys won't give it to me, but maybe if I ask, maybe you guys will. And that's what all today was all about. So make sure you guys are doing those asks in your own lives and how you can alleviate some of the stresses, take off a couple of those pounded weights, and be able to achieve more and be successful at what you are doing. I love you guys all. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back next week, next Saturday. We're going to be doing a show Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have on the one and only Anthony Triplett. If that name faintly sounds familiar, he goes by Trip. He has been doing one hell of a picking up of the torch, if you will, there in Thurston County schools. So he went out and he decided government's not going to be protecting our students. And in fact, in 2 recent incidents, they were actually protecting the shooters in the schools from the parents who were looking to protect their children by any means necessary. And so he's taken upon himself to patrol the Thurston County schools while armed and with his dog. And now he is a United States military veteran and was protected with America's secrets and America's interests. So why can't he do it here? Well, of course, it became controversial. So join us next Saturday where I'm going to be sitting down with him and having that conversation. I love you guys all. I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys back here Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern with Matt Wright for Muddied America. Love you guys all. Appreciate you guys. Be good, be well, and I'll see you guys again here soon.